What's up guys, this is Miasin, and today we'll be exploring a card that you probably already know about, but may not know how to exactly fully capitalize on. I am talking about Metaltronus, which is one of the most intricate cards this game has ever seen, because just like Small World, this card actually rewards you for doing your homework. You can play it at a basic level, which means you pretty much only play in mirror matches, so that you only summon monsters with the same name as your opponents. Or you can also play it at an advanced level, so you're utilizing 2 to 3 common characteristics, being attack, type, and attribute. The card has limitless potential, and I personally believe that right now is the perfect timing to start exploring what this card can really offer you. Not to mention that this card kind of behaves like a Solemn Strike when you go first, so it's more than just a board breaker. Anyways, let's see what kind of cool things you can do with this card going second against Ryzeal, Malice, and Fiendsmith Kashtira, and maybe some other decks generically. Okay, so first of all, I'm not gonna waste any of your time. This card is not good against Malice. Well, at least as a board breaker going second, because it's just gonna get negated by the graveyard effect of Cyber's Avworm. And also, it's not really good against Fiendsmith Kashtira because it gets negated by both DS Ire and also the Evil Zor Lars. On top of that, the Kashtira field spell can't boost the attack of monsters on the field, which may make Metaltronus a little awkward to use. Unless you're summoning a monster with the same name, but then again, if you can't target the monster in the first place, you're already in a bad position. Now, the good news is, this card slaps Ryzeal. Like, completely. If you can target a 3000 attack Ryzeal Detonator, and I say if because it does matter, since your opponent could have a dual drive on the field with 1 or 2 or whatever materials, and this would alter the attack of the detonator. But yeah, granted your opponent just has a normal 3000 attack detonator on the field, and you target it with Metaltronus, you could summon something like Underworld Goddess on your field. And then she can go into Requiem, which then is full Fiendsmith combo, even though realistically it's not gonna happen because your opponent can have the field spell to negate the Requiem. So look, Metaltronus is still a really good card because it's gonna shut down all the pops from Detonator, and also it's gonna force out the field spell, but it's not really gonna generate you any advantage because clearly you're not gonna be summoning anything off of the Requiem. Now, one of the coolest things about Metaltronus here is that even when Twins of the Eclipse will get released and people will be able to kind of dodge Imperm with it, they're not gonna be able to dodge Metaltronus. I say dodge Imperm because let's just say you try to use Imperm as a board breaker on your own turn targeting the Detonator, your opponent can just chain the Detonator, target itself, and then it dies, and then the Twins of the Eclipse will trigger, revive back the Detonator, and give it 2 materials. But with Metaltronus, your opponent cannot respond with the targeted monsters, so you are in luck. Watch out though, because your opponent can still respond with other cards effects to the Metaltronus, such as Ash, and if you chain a Call by the Grave or a Cross out to the Ash, it's not really going to work out in your favor. Because if you do, your opponent can just chain the Detonator, destroy itself in response to the Call by the Grave or the Cross out, and then again, it's going to be the exact same thing as the Imperm. The Detonator is going to die, the Twins of the Eclipse is going to be reviving back the Detonator, and also the Metaltronus is not going to be summoning anything in the process. But in a world where your opponent doesn't have Ash, you're chilling. Even if your opponent has Solemn Judgment and you have a second Metaltronus, that's actually great for you because now your opponent went neg 1 and lost 4000 life points, and you can just use Metaltronus again. Okay, so I just covered a pretty obvious play with the card, but now how about you learn something new? Metaltronus can actually break the full Ryzeal board going second by itself on top of generating advantage. And the best part is, you don't need any extra cards in your main deck to make it work, but you will need 3 extra deck cards though. Okay, so just like Underworld Goddess is a light monster with 3000 attack, there is another light monster with 3000 attack in Yu-Gi-Oh! There that is pretty nice. And I am talking about the 3-card Galaxy Ice package, namely Cypher Dragon, Cypher Blade Dragon, and Full Armor Photon Dragon. Cypher Dragon will be the first monster that you're going to be summoning, so off of Metaltronus, and then you're going to slap the Full Armor Photon Dragon on top. You're going to use the effect in order to destroy the field spell, which obviously has to negate the Full Armor Photon. And then you'll just make Cypher Blade Dragon on top of the Full Armor Photon, and then destroy something else on the field, such as, I don't know, like a face-down Imperm maybe. So think about it, in a world where your opponent had a Ryzeal Detonator with a Twins of the Eclipse underneath, plus the field spell and a copy of Infinite Impermanence, we are looking at like 5+ diversified interruptions, and you were able to get rid of each and every single one of them with only 1 single copy of Metaltronus going second. On top of that, you were able to generate a monster with 3200 attack on the field, which is a dragon monster, so you can make a, I don't know, like a Romulus or a Hieratic Seal with it, or even an SP Little Knight so that you can break another Imperm, and then you full combo after that. I'll be honest with you, if you can actually pull this combo off, there is just no way you can really lose. But then again, there are some things to take into consideration that could be inconvenient to you. First of all, Metaltronus does target, so it loses out to things like Star Leech, Photon Blast Dragon. It's not like the most relevant thing on Earth, but still, some people do play it, so watch out. Second, Metaltronus taking an Ash is a big deal, because again, if you chain Call by the Grave or Cross out to it, it's not going to work out in your favor. Your opponent will just chain the Detonator and then self-destruct, and then you're kind of screwed from there. Finally, your opponent could just have a duo drive on the field, or like the Kashtira field spell or something, and then the Detonator is going to have more than 3000 attack, which means Metaltronus is going to be a little awkward, and unless you summon another copy copy of Detonator and then banish both face down, it's also not gonna work in your favor. Not to mention that if you want Metaltronus to really have maximum value, you do have to play 3 cards in your extra deck, and honestly the commitment is a little bit. But then again, this is the absolute most amount of value that you can generate against Ryzeal at the current moment with one single copy of Metaltronus. I've already stated before that Metaltronus was not really generically good, and it's not really worth playing against Malice or Fiendsmith Kashtira. However, there are some other niche interactions where this card can be good against monsters other than Detonator. For example, let's just say that you're facing off against an Abyss Dweller and you're playing either a Mermail or a Memento. You could negate the Abyss Dweller and then summon either a Mermail Abystius or a Chiron. But then again, it's a little niche, it's not gonna come up for game 1, and also those decks usually don't really play Metaltronus. With that said, if you're not playing Ryzeal or the Fiendsmith package, you really need the Galaxy Eyes package in your extra deck in order to really make Metaltronus worth playing. Otherwise, the card just isn't good enough, and you're probably better off with Ultimate Slayer. Anyways, that's all I had for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about Metaltronus in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.